All right, welcome everybody. How is everyone this morning? All right, welcome to NewOps Days Phoenix. My name is Josh Atwell. I'm a senior technology advocate for Splunk, and I'm going to kind of lead us in and introduce our speakers. You're going to have to listen to me talk all day, but only in small amounts, okay? Real quick, I'm required to do this by law, apparently. If we mention something about the future of any of the products for any of the companies here, don't make purchase decisions based on that. Thank you. All right, show of hands. Everybody's favorite part of a presentation. How long have you been in IT operations? Less than a year? 1 to 5 years. Okay. 5 to 10 years. Yeah, I think you know what's coming next. More than 10 years. That is consistent everywhere we go. Okay. IT operations, we tend to be in this for quite a while, and the new people don't necessarily look at IT operations quite the same way as we've matured in our careers through it. And interesting bit about this is everything that we do is completely changing. Okay? The way that we interact with the world as consumers and as professionals is changing. Right? I got here in an airplane, and I checked in with a mobile phone, and there was a flight delay, and I changed my flight schedule on my phone, changed my seat because they put me on a terrible seat, right? And I changed it from my phone, and once I arrived, I got into an Uber from my phone, right? So the entire world and the way we interact with it has changed, and as such, it's put different stresses on the businesses that we work for and the companies that we interact with, which then in turn puts pressure on us in the IT operations side. Because as we saw just last week, or actually it was, just a few days ago, when software fails, bad things can happen, and it changes the way that we interact with our world, okay? So talk a little bit about what is NewOps, kind of level set everybody for the day. All right, core ops. If you've been doing IT operations for over 10 years, which most everybody here has, you've all dealt with the transition from x86 machines running on bare metal servers to virtualizing them. How many people have done a P to V migration in their lives? Yeah. Okay. How many people don't know what that is? Okay, perfect. All right. So we moved from bare metal. We started virtualizing. We had these large monolithic applications. One application went to one operating system because if you put two applications on that operating system, you weren't sure what dependencies might overlap if you did an upgrade, right? But today, we're responsible for platforms, right? We're responsible for how we adopt cloud technologies. We're responsible for helping operationalize serverless functions in the cloud and on premises. If you have developers as part of your organization, somebody's talking about containers. If you buy software off the shelf or from a vendor, somebody's talking about containers. You can't get away from it. Right? It's a new model, a new platform you're going to have to manage. And then, of course, we're transitioning workloads and applications to software as a service models, right? Moving from running your Exchange server to running Office 365 or Google Suite. When we talk about our processes and the way that we work, we've always had very siloed visibility. How many people are security people? Infrastructure people? Storage folks? Do not like raising your hand during presentations? There are always a few, right? And we've always been ticket-driven, right? We would say, if you need something, fill out a ticket and we'll get it in the queue, right? We don't get to do that anymore. The rate of change, the increase in complexity, we have to adopt new processes and new technologies. We have to move to a model of observability, improved responsiveness. This increase in complexity now means that we need new methods for observing what's happening in the environment, which means we're going to start having to adopt technologies like AI and machine learning in order to take the noise out and let us see things that are meaningful, right? So we have to change those processes too, from send a ticket to you're going to have it self-service. And we get into our tooling, right? Everybody likes to talk about tools because we're all engineers at heart, right? We're technical people. We've had our specialized tools for each of our disciplines, but we don't get to do that anymore, right? We have to work with collaborative tools. We have to work with multiple facets of the organization, right? And these tools will have impacts on the infrastructure, the application. They're not siloed to specific platforms, and then they evolve into things like CI/CD, right? So once you start getting into continuous integration and continuous delivery, continuous deployment, Like, that's completely different than the way that we've been doing things. And then ourselves, we're changing as well, right? We function as specialists. Right? Each of you that raised your hand, like, you had a specialty. Now, the specialty doesn't go away. That expertise does not become negated simply because things have changed. It's just the way you apply it is different. So now, you have to apply your specialization and your knowledge into new platforms or strategies for supporting the applications and the environments and the developers and the needs of the business. And this can be DevOps. You may have heard of Lean Ops. You've probably had chagrined looks around NoOps. And then, of course, we've all kind of moved to be more generalists, right? Our specialty is still there, but we have to kind of expand and have more broader knowledge. That's a big part of what NewOps Days is for. Because of this, IT departments really need to step up our game. I wish I could say that we Photoshop this. I don't necessarily recommend that you start searching this yourself, but I was recently reading a book called Get in the Boat, which the author, I can't remember their name. But in the course of their research, they interviewed 750 CEOs and executive leaders at different companies over the course of like 5 to 7 years. Out of 750 executives that they talked to, they asked the question, what is your general impression of IT? What percentage of those 750 executives said they had a positive impression of IT? Just spit it out. What do you think? 2 people or 2%? And somebody said you're being optimistic there. Yeah, out of 750 executives, 750 did not have a positive view of IT. Okay? Now, this book's a couple years old. I think it was published like 2 years ago. I mean, the view of IT has been poor. And a lot of that is our own doing, and a lot of that is the organization, the executives doing, right? And we got to work on that. If you're a sysadmin and you're in an operations role, you're no exception to this because people either want you to be obsolete and not even be around anymore. They don't value your competence and your skill and your capability, or they think that the work you do doesn't add value, or that you're choosing to be difficult because of the processes and the frameworks and the things that you have in place. But we all know that the measurements that are put on us, we're just risk adverse, right? That's one of our biggest things. All right, so that's what NewOps Days is all about, right? Understanding that you still have these core operations principles that you still have to apply and utilize, but you also have to adopt and acknowledge these new frameworks, these new tools, these new processes, adopting new platforms in order to operate. And you've got to bridge that gap. And as a community that we're working to build, that's what we're trying to help you do. So it's NewOps Days is a community-based event. It's organized with our co-founders, Rundeck and DevOps Institute, and the folks from Splunk, right? And we want you to advance your skills and your capabilities. We want you all to be able to raise your hand next time and say that you've been doing this for 20 plus years, you survived, you didn't throttle anybody, right? And you feel fulfilled in the work that you're doing, okay? And we're hoping even after this event, you'll stay engaged with us. NewOps Days Forum. A little bit different. If you've been to a DevOps Days event, you're familiar with open spaces. So, yeah, okay, so some of you have done that. We're going to do a little bit different. At each one of your tables, you will note that there is a topic, one of these 9 topics. You do not have to be assigned to a topic. You can self-select which topic you want to be a part of. If you don't have a topic, you can make up your own topic. I will be sitting here and we'll talk about Legos. Or bourbon. I could do that as well. Also on your table, you'll see you have some Sharpies and you have some Post-it notes. You have the opportunity for each of these topics to pose a question, something that you showed up wanting to know more about. And on the little white Post-it boards up in the back, you'll post your questions. If you have expertise on that topic, or you see a question that you think you can provide some answer to, write it down and put it on the right side, okay? And what we'll do this afternoon is we're going to get together, we're going to break up into forum teams based on these topics, and we're going to allow you to engage and discuss that topic, okay? And then we'll share everything back at the end. So you are all responsible for contributing to this event, okay? Sound fun? It'll be fun, I promise.